Hello friends, welcome back to the AWS series. In today's session, we are going to learn how to set up a budget alarm in AWS. Well, this is very important topic, especially if you are learning AWS using your own personal account. It's equally important in real organizations where monitoring cloud cost is essential. The idea behind AWS budget is simple. It helps you stay informed when your AWS spending starts approaching a threshold that you define, giving you enough time to investigate the cost and take corrective action before your budget is exceeded. Now let's see how to configure it. Well, I am currently logged in to the AWS Management Console using my personal AWS account as the root user. There are two ways to navigate to AWS Budgets. The first way is to click on your account name in the top right corner and select Billing and Cost Management from here. Alternatively, you can simply use the search bar at the top of the console, type Budgets in the search box. You will notice that Budgets is a feature available within the Billing and Cost Management. Click on Budgets. This takes you directly to the AWS Budget section. Now let's click Create a Budget and configure our first AWS budget. Now here on the budget setup section, AWS gives us two options for creating a budget. The first option is User Template. This uses AWS recommended configuration, allowing you to create a budget quickly with minimal setup. You can still modify some of the settings later after the budget is created. The second option is Customized, which is the advanced one. This option gives you more flexibility. You can customize various settings such as a budget period, start month, linked accounts, cost filters, and other parameters to match your specific requirements. For this demo, we will use the user template option, which is already selected by default. Now, under the template section, you will notice four different budget templates. The first one is Zero Spend Budget. This budget sends you a notification as soon as your AWS account incurs any charges above $0.01. In simple terms, if you are expecting not to spend anything on AWS, this template immediately alerts you when your account starts generating billable usage. The second option is Monthly Cost Budget. This is the most commonly used budget. It lets you define a monthly spending limit, and AWS notifies you when your actual spending or even your forecasted spending is about to exceed that limit. For example, if you set a monthly budget of $20, AWS can notify you when you have already spent close to $20 or when it predicts that you will exceed $20 before the end of the month. Next is Daily Savings Plan Coverage Budget. This budget is useful if your organization uses AWS Savings Plans. It monitors how much of your eligible compute usage is covered by your savings plans and sends an alert if the coverage falls below the target you define. In simple terms, it helps ensure you are getting the maximum benefit from your savings plans. The fourth one is Daily Reservation Utilization Budget. This budget is designed for organizations using reserved instances. It monitors how effectively your reserved instances are being utilized and notifies you if the utilization drops below your defined target. In simple terms, it helps identify reserved instances that you are paying for but not fully using. For this demonstration, we will select Monthly Cost Budget, as it is the most commonly used option for personal AWS accounts as well as enterprise environments. Now let's configure our monthly cost budget. The first thing we need to do is give the budget a meaningful name. I will give it a name like Cognexa monthly budget. Next, we need to enter the budget amount here. Since this is my personal AWS account that I am using for training, I will set the monthly budget to $50. The idea is simple. I want AWS to notify me whenever my monthly spending starts approaching this limit, so I can review my resources and avoid any unexpected charges. Next, we have the email recipients section. This is where you specify who should receive the budget notifications. For a personal AWS account, you would typically enter your own email address. But in a real organization, you would usually provide a distribution list or a team email address. so that the relevant team members are notified whenever the budget threshold is reached. For this demo, I will enter my email address. Now, here is one of the most important sections on this page, the notification scope. By default, all AWS services are included in this budget. So AWS monitors your overall account spending across all services. Also, AWS automatically creates 3 useful notifications for this template when the actual spend reaches 85% of the budget. Second, when your actual spending reaches 100% of the budget. And the third, when AWS forecasts that your spending is expected to reach 100% before the end of the month. This is really useful because you don't have to wait until you have completely exhausted your budget. AWS gives you an early warning, allowing you enough time to investigate what's causing the increase in the cost and take a corrective action before your budget is exceeded. Finally, click Create Budget. And that's it. And you will get the message your budget has been created successfully. From this point onwards, AWS continuously monitors your spending and sends emails notification whenever budget threshold is reached. I highly recommend setting up a budget for every personal AWS account that you use for learning. And in enterprise environments, configuring budgets and budget alerts is considered a cloud cost management best practice that helps teams to stay informed and prevent unexpected AWS charges. Now, you might be wondering what happens when I receive one of those budget notification emails. Well, that's where AWS Cost Explorer becomes really useful. Whenever you receive a budget alert, the first place you should visit is Cost Explorer. You can find it in the left navigation pane under Cost and Usage Analysis. Let's open it. The main thing to understand here is that Cost Explorer provides a visual breakdown of your AWS spending. Here, you will see a graph similar to this, which shows how much you are spending over selected period. For example, here I am viewing my AWS cost from January to June. You can see that my spending increases during the month of March. Now, notice these different color sections in the graph. Each color represents a different AWS service. For example, this large blue section represents spending on AWS EC2 instances. I am also spending a small amount on services like Amazon VPC, EC2 other, and a few other AWS services. This graph makes it very easy to understand exactly which AWS services are contributing to your monthly bill. And if you scroll down to Cost and Usage Breakdown section, you will get even more detailed information. Here you can see the list of AWS services along with the amount you have spent on each service during the selected time period. This is extremely helpful because it immediately tells you where your money is going. Once you identify the service that's generating most of the cost, you can investigate it further. For example, if you notice that an EC2 instance has been running continuously, you can stop or terminate it if it is no longer required. Similarly, if you find unused resources such as idle load balancers, unattached EBS volumes, old snapshots, or other resources that are still generating charges, you can clean them up to reduce your AWS bill. Remember, you are the one who is creating these AWS resources, and the Cost Explorer simply helps you to identify where your money is being spent so that you can make informed decisions. Cost Explorer also provides several useful filters. For example, you can filter the data by date range, granularity, such as daily, monthly, or even hourly for supported services. Then dimensions, service, linked accounts, region, tax, or many other dimensions. These filters make it easier to analyze your cloud costs from different perspectives. So, by using AWS Budgets together with AWS Cost Explorer, you will always have good visibility into your AWS spending and can proactively manage your cloud costs before they become a surprise. This is exactly how I monitor and manage my AWS costs in my own AWS accounts. And it's also one of the standard cost management practices followed in enterprise environments. Well, that's all for today's session. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy learning.